Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Uncensored. Reviews for Harry and Meghan's big-budget Netflix series have so far been less than kind. Unimaginative and frustrating, said Hollywood's Bible, Variety magazine. So sickening, I almost brought up my breakfast, said the woke Bible, The Guardian. All the intimacy of Instagram, sneered the normally timid New York Times. A nauseating, self-serving snooze fest, said another pundit. Well, that was me, actually. Now, against this deluge of derision, Netflix today released a new trailer for the second half of this compelling series, which comes out on Thursday. Viewer discretion is advised. This clip contains weapons-grade hypocrisy. Gaslighting, says Harry. Do you think he even knows what that means? They were happy to lie to protect my brother. Who?
Very good question.
Who? The royals? Me? The media? Who is it? The irony is earth-shattering, isn't it? Harry and Meghan are the Duke and Duchess of gaslighting themselves. The entire show is a cynical attempt to manipulate viewers into questioning their own recollections of reality. And if we learned anything at all from the first 3 hours of this $100 million wine-a-thon, it's surely that this dismal duo wouldn't know the truth if it smacked them around their smug chops. Let's look at their truth versus the actual truth. Meghan moans that royal advisors forced her to uninvite her dear niece, Ashley, from the wedding, the only member of her family that she seemed to be still talking to.
How do we explain that this half-sister isn't invited to the wedding, but that the half-sister's daughter is? And so, with Ashley, the guidance at the time was to not have her come to our wedding.
Yeah, that was a lie. Impeccably placed royal sources told the Sunday Times no such guidance was ever given. And that was supposed to be the show's big example of how Meghan really cares very deeply about her family. So deeply that only one member of that family was at the wedding, her mother. Not even her favourite little niece, Ashley. Meghan also sees she got no advice on royal protocol. Forcing her to learn how to be a princess all on her own.
Joining this family, I knew that there was a protocol for how things were done. There's no class and some person who goes sit like this, cross your legs like this. So that was a lie. Use this fork, don't do this. Curtsy then, wear this kind of hat. Doesn't happen.
Another lie. And by the way, Meghan, if you don't like me calling you a liar, just sue me and we'll go through all this in court. The Sunday Times discovered she was actually handed a 30-point dossier, studiously researched, brimming with information and contacts. Meghan later simpers that she never wore bright colours to show respect, because she's all about respect.
So I was like, well, what's a colour that they'll probably never wear? Camel, beige, white. So I wore a lot of muted tones, but it also was so I could just blend in.
Stop it.
Like, I'm not trying to stand out here.
No, the last thing Meghan Markle would ever want to do is stand out. But it's all another lie. Photos taken by the evil, bigoted British press show her wearing pretty much every colour in the rainbow. The show opens with the claim that the royal family declined to comment on the series. That's another lie. The palace says it received one email from an unknown company and attempts to verify it were flatly ignored. Even the story of their romance engagement turns out to have been a series of whoppers. They told the BBC in 2017 they were set up by a mutual friend on a blind date. They told Netflix they met on Instagram. And what about Harry's modest proposal in their humble cottage kitchen?
It happened a few weeks ago, earlier this month, here at our cottage. Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cozy night. It was, what were we doing? Just roasting chicken and having...
Trying to roast a chicken.
Trying to roast a chicken. And it was just an amazing surprise. It was so sweet.
An amazing surprise. It was so sweet. Well, according to Netflix, which is their show, it was actually a candlelit extravaganza in their walled garden. And Meghan was so amazingly surprised, she managed to figure out what was happening and tell her friend about it before Harry even popped the question.
What?
A small little detail, but rather like their claim, or Meghan's claim, that they'd been secretly married by the Archbishop of Canterbury in their garden 3 days before the big televised wedding.
What the hell?
Which also turned out not just to be untrue, but had it been true, would have led to the Archbishop of Canterbury being incarcerated in prison. As with all things Meghan and Harry, it would seem, the truth just doesn't really exist in their world. It's their truth, their version of it. Meghan also lambasted the entire BBC engagement interview as rehearsed and an orchestrated reality show, because that's the last thing she'd be engaging in, isn't it? An orchestrated reality show like the Netflix series. Michelle Hussein from the BBC, who carried out the interview, said, actually, no, it was just an interview. Even the BBC's long-serving royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell, normally bent double to avoid upsetting absolutely anybody in royal circles, can't take it anymore.
Consider one of the things that Meghan said. No matter what I did, they were still going to find a way to destroy me. Well, the first point, who is the they that she's referring to? I think it is the palace, but most particularly it is to the press. But the idea that anyone was out to destroy her, frankly, I think is absurd and simply does not stand up to proper and reasonable scrutiny.
Well, that's Nicholas Witchell's way of saying you're lying. And he's right.
Okay.
They lie all the time. Nothing they ever say seems to stand up to reasonable scrutiny. And I say that as somebody who lost his last job presenting Good Morning Britain because I wouldn't apologise for saying I didn't believe Meghan Markle. Think about that. Well, just like they've failed to ever provide a shred of evidence for their claims of racism in the palace or Meghan's claims over mental health problems. She said that they were not just ignored by the palace, but she was told she wasn't allowed to get any help for suicidal thoughts by somebody at the palace. Who was that person? They shouldn't be working at the palace. We've never had a name, like we've never had any names about the racism. Today's new trailer makes clear that the gloves are off in the next 3 episodes of the show. And remember, this is just the warm-up. Then there's Harry's book coming in early January. Hundreds of pages of more allegations about his family. There will be mudslinging, incendiary claims, bombshells, and, I fear, a lot more lies. And on behalf of the British people and the monarchy they're trashing, I intend to call out every single lie that they utter in their attempt to not just destroy the royal family, but to potentially bring down the British monarchy.
Done it. It was very modern, and she showed a modern family. I don't know what you mean about the journey. She's gone through it. She's clearly had the most horrendous time,
Yes.
Yeah.
and she wants to show some hope. And I think that's what the country wants. They want to see that the royal family offers hope again. That is back in business, so to speak. It isn't terminal as it appeared 6 months ago.
Well, I agree. And let's mention the second part of this, which is literally 90 minutes. I have 100 minutes.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
It was 100 minutes later. Netflix drop a promo for the new Archewell Productions documentary series about polo. And up it came on everyone's social media.
What the hell?
And look, there's 3 things you could say about this in terms of what was behind this. One, it was a complete and utter coincidence that 100 minutes after this major revelation and announcement and film from Kensington Palace, by pure chance, Netflix, Meghan and Harry decide that is the moment to promote a series that doesn't air until December. The chances of that, I would say, are No Hope and Bob Hope. And Bob Hope has been dead for many years. Secondly, they did it to draw attention away from their rival palace, from the sibling that Harry hates and doesn't talk to, from the sister-in-law that Meghan hates and doesn't talk to, and vice versa. Or that thirdly, they wanted to, and this is probably my preferred theory, they wanted to capitalise on all the publicity around the Kate announcement by saying, boom, by the way, don't forget about us. Now, interestingly, Paula, you might recoil in horror because
I am.
You never
I am.
like to be.
I am.
You never like to be brought too closely to reality with these two.
Wow.
About just how cynical they can be. But interestingly, it completely bombed. The next day's papers barely mentioned at all this Polo series, nor did any other publications I saw around the world. It was all front page on Kate and William. Why do they do this kind of thing?
Well,
and the moment Netflix did it, even if it was an accident, why wouldn't the first thing you would do is ring them and say, please take that down, that's just going to backfire?
Well, I'm going to suggest that you're incredibly cynical when it comes to Harry and Meghan.
Very, very
and
cynical.
anything they do.
Yes,
and
with good reason.
And I'm also going to suggest that your grasp on reality, because of your cynicism, means that it's waning. Let's be honest. Piers, because the fact is, you know that when you come to market a show, it is done months in advance. This is not about Harry and Meghan.
Do you think it was pure coincidence?
This is not about...
You better answer the fucking question.
No, I don't think it was coincidence. I think the date...
Deliberate?
I think the date had always been set for when Netflix were going to first...
Really?
Of course.
You want to take a bet on that?
And I can give you an example.
You want to bet on that?
No, I don't, because I don't know...
No, you don't?
No, but can I give you an example?
Even a pound?
Can I give you an
No,
example?
You don't.
Can I give you an example?
Because you know it's nonsense.
Work with me with my example. Bear with me. Control the cynicism. I am going to be in a show. That show does not come out until October. It was advertised from April of this year.
Yeah. That's not my point.
Yes,
my point.
it is.
Let me bring in Tom for a reality check
yes,
here.
it is, because
Tom,
you
you and I have been
point.
around the media
You
block
made
a
that
little
point.
longer than young Paula. Hope you don't mind me calling you that. I'm sure you love
very
it.
happy to
Everything's relative.
Tom, is there any world in which this just happened by
Absolutely
chance?
not. They were quite. Someone heard about it. He said, promote the. Because the only raison d'etre of the Sussexes is to capitalise on their royal connections.
Right.
And the royal connections have got to be to associate themselves with the British royal
But what
family.
does it say about them that they would be happy for this promotion to go out
They are-
within 2 hours of such a personal film about cancer from Kate?
They are just remorseless, selfish, false, ghastly couple who only believe in promoting themselves because that, in the end, is their only source of money. And what is very interesting in all this, which has never got commented on, that when Harry came back to England for Robert Fellowes' his uncle's funeral 2 weeks ago, he didn't go up to see his father.
No, stay with Earl Spencer.
But he could have gone up to Scotland. I
Yeah.
mean, the man who dashed over when it was all announced, he forgot about his dad. And so the whole thing is always
And also, he
contrived.
managed to come and go without any threat to his
Let me just
life.
finish. No threat to his
in relation
life.
to this ongoing
Everything
security
about
nonsense.
the Sussexes is so contrived, so self-interested, so unbelievably appalling that one can only imagine that they really wish Kate and William ill.
Yes.
That's the real
my
problem.
goodness me. I think that's
is
very
that you've
unfair.
Just levelled the accusation of Harry and Meghan as being contrived in the same breath as you admit Kate can basically do what she likes, and yes, you said it was schmaltzy, etc., i.e. highly contrived.
Here's the difference.
So in other words,
Hang on.
Kate can
Hang
be
on.
as contrived as she likes. But Harry and Meghan can't.
Tessa, here's the difference.
What's the
Kate's film is about her cancer.
Her
She's
truth. Her truth.
No,
No, but it is her truth.
No, no.
It's her version.
It's not about her
of
truth.
cancer.
She has cancer.
Yes.
She's not inventing
yes.
it.
No, I'm not
right?
suggesting she
When people
is.
talk about my truth, it normally means it's not the truth.
No,
right?
because
There is the truth. It's not her truth.
it's part of the story.
No, it's not. It's a fact she has cancer, OK?
But we don't know what cancer.
And it's a fact
So
she's
what?
had chemotherapy. We know a lot more about what's happened to her than we normally do about royal health issues. But here's the difference. She's making no money out of this.
Oh.
She makes...
Piers.
Well, hang on, let me finish my point. This is a very personal thing about her health because she's the future queen and we've been demanding to know. Meghan and Harry's video, or their promo for their documentary, is a pure money-making exercise, trading off their royal titles to fill their coffers with yet more ill-gotten cash. That's why Tom and I are so cynical about it, because we see right through it.
Now, I don't know how you get on with basic arithmetic, but since the late Queen acceded to the throne, followed by Charles, the value of the Duchy of Lancaster and the Duchy of Cornwall put together, and William now, of course, is a Duke over the Duchy of Cornwall, has increased in value 16-fold, 1.6 billion pounds worth of profit.
So what?
Exempt of capital gains. Exempt of corporation, which, by the way, would cover holus bolus the entire winter fuel duty. It's not nonsense.
It is.
Tom, it is 100.
What's your point? What's your point?
My point is, Kate does not have to worry about money. And in fact, after we've experienced the Labour budget, which I think will attack inherited wealth, the only people who will be entirely untouched by New Reality Britain will be the royal family.
What does that have to do with what Meghan and Harry did?
Because you have accused them of trying to make money and Kate not trying to make money.
Let me just say something. Because they said when they left England that they wanted nothing to do with the royal family.
Correct.
They said that they were going to look for their privacy and look for a completely solitary life in California.
Right.
And then all they've done since reaching California is attach themselves to the royal family with their phony tours.
Well, they've done two things. They've attached themselves to the royals as much as they can to profit from being royals.